From WSLN, the Weathered Soul Liberty Network, based in Gilroy, California, the garlic capital of the world, we give you the Weathered Soul podcast with DJ Dougie and Bruce, aka the Weathered Soul. Stay with us for the next hour for intriguing conversation about our community, Gilroy, the South Bay, the national scene, and even stuff around the world. So give us a little time and we will entertain you. What's up, guys? I got aka the Weathered Soul here with DJ Dougie. How you guys doing? You got the Weathered Soul podcast, the best podcast that you've never heard of. We are here live from AJM Studios here in Gilroy, California. Dougie's just down the street from me because, hey, that's what we do. We're doing this StreamYard stuff. There ain't no reason for him to be next to me. You know, we're swapping air and stuff like that. But anyway, hey, we want to welcome you here to the Weathered Soul podcast. Thank you for guys for being here. Love it. We're doing this every 2 weeks now, and it's just been a great time, man. We thank you guys for all your comments that have been coming in. The subscriptions are up for the Weathered Soul Podcast Network, the WSLN on YouTube. If you're showing us on YouTube, you know what I'm talking about. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that share button, hit that like button, and subscribe to the podcast or subscribe to the channel. I've got all kinds of shows that I do during the week. I got the Weathered Soul podcast, which we do every 2 weeks on Thursday night. I've got the morning drive I do every morning at somewhere around 6 o'clock, but it posts about 7 o'clock in the morning. And I do a little 5-minute blurb of stuff that I'm just kind of either irritated about or I want to give you some positive input about. And then next week, it's going to be real special that we are actually starting up and launching the Bruce for Liberty podcast, and In the Pit of Your Stomach is coming back. And don't be dismayed like Bruce for Liberty, he's going to talk about liberty and all that stuff. It's not about liberty. It's mostly about business, entrepreneurship, how you get there, how you got there, and what you're doing with your and what you're trying to do and look forward to as far as getting into business and trying to grab your liberty and grab your freedom out of wealth and blue influence. So that's what we're kind of doing there for Bruce for Liberty. And that's going to be debuting next week. But hey, we got DJ Dougie here. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Not too bad at all, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. I got my Weathered Soul shirt on tonight. I see that Excellent. You got your Waimea shirt on, right?
Yeah. Why not a Mia?
Yeah, the why not a Mia. Yeah. Me and my wife and Dougie and his wife, we've been to Hawaii a couple of times, and we just had a great time. And I got my Waimea shirt, but I mean it's all faded out. I can't even see the Waimea on it anymore. It's been washed so much. It's just it's real fun. We'll have to get back there, man, because I just love Kauai. I miss Kauai. We saw a documentary on it or some kind of. Oh, actually, we saw a homesteading show a couple of nights ago where somebody was homesteading on Kauai. And man, let me tell you, I'm never homesteading on Kauai. That place grows way too fast, man. I thought I had a lot of vegetation in my backyard, but Kauai's got nothing on it. So it's crazy, man.
Yeah,
how you doing, buddy?
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing, man. I'm telling you, man. There's so much stuff going on. I mean, we talk about kind of not homesteading, but we talk about landscaping, all kinds of stuff back in our backyards that we do. And I always thought that I had a lot of vegetation, especially, when I start cleaning up my yard, come around garden time, man. I'm filling up my yard waste with 300-400 pounds of vegetation, and I was just watching. Tractor fulls of stuff with some kind of grass that just grows like real fast and real wild. It was crazy, dude. And there's so much mud and rain and everything. And, we had to deal with the rain when we were there and stuff like that, but it was really fun. I mean,
the thing is too, all the good, flat plains, all the lava plains and stuff are taken. So if you want a homestead there, you got a little spot, maybe it's on a hill, whatever, prime stuff is hard to get.
Right.
The easy stuff is hard to get. It's taken.
Right.
That's why you gotta get your own tropical island somewhere.
One of these days, I'll have my own tropical island all to myself. But I'm only going to get there by one thing. Okay, so right now we are brought to you by the Nomad Network app. This is Jason Stapleton's new app. It's a it's not a social media site so much as it is a networking site. You can get there by www.nomadnetwork.app/sign up 7YPNC4. Why is that important? I'll tell you why that's important. I'm in a contest, of course. There's always a contest to get people all wrapped up in a new idea, and it's really not a new idea so much as it is a network of people that are artists, they are podcasters, they are business people. That business people are making millions of dollars a month and or millions of dollars a year, and some of us are just starting out. And it's really a place that you can go and you can get a positive attitude, you can get motivation, you can get classes. They will send you links to, or not even send you links because there's no advertising there, but they offer you links to different classes that you can take, different things that they're doing that they need help on, or you can help them on. And it's just really growing into a great community. We just got over 1,500 people there this last week, and it has just been a great time. www.nomadnetwork.app. Sign up 7YPNC4. If you sign up under there, you get me an entry there, and I love it. He's got some great prizes coming up, and we really just want people that really want to be in the app. So if you want to go there, check it out. That'd be great. I will be posting stuff on Facebook and stuff like that. We'll give you links to share and links to get there to see what's being posted there. See if you like it. But for right now, www.nomadnetwork.app/sign up /7YPNC4. And another reason why I brought that up is because we got a very special birthday to say to somebody. My buddy William Ryken has a daughter. His daughter's name is Ryan. They call her Rye. And I just want to say a special happy birthday to you, Rye. You're 17 today. And she is just a little darling. I don't have a picture of her, or I put a picture up of her right now, but she's a special person, and I know she's out there listening. I know her dad's out there listening right now. So I just wanted to say, Rye, happy birthday. And on the audio portion of this podcast, at the end of the podcast, I've got a special song for you that I'm going to play for you at the end of the audio podcast. So happy birthday, Rye, from me, DJ Dougie, and everybody watching the Weather Soul podcast. And it is just fantastic. But hey, since we're on the subject of the audio podcast, let me show you where you can get the audio podcast. Okay, so the audio podcast is on a place called anchor.fm. Anchor.fm /the Weather Soul podcast. You can go there and you can get our audio podcast of all of our episodes. We are actually on episode 4, which is kind of new because we were offline for a while. But me and Dougie have hundreds of podcasts that we have underneath of our belt, and you can go get that at anchor.fm /the Weathered Soul podcast. Go there or be square, man.
Yeah. Information, education, and entertainment. What else could you want?
I mean, what else could you want? We're just two old guys, right? To get off of our grass, right? Get off.
Let me show you something, kid.
Yeah. And pick up the dog dookie while you're there. Do something. Hey, how was Halloween for you, man? We had Halloween this last weekend. How did it go?
Oh, it was overwhelming. We had 6.
Oh my gosh, you only had 6 kids? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. We
shut down. We shut down early by 8 o'clock. We said, you know what? Sunday night. If you're not here by now, tough. And Abby said she thought she saw maybe one group of like 4 teenagers walk by after we shut down.
We had 60 kids this year.
60.
60 kids. That was 54 more than we had last year. So we had about 6 last year. But yeah, they came out.
No, last year we had like 25.
That's right. You had more less than me last year. And
Yeah.
for some reason, I didn't even advertise it because I usually advertise it on the Nextdoor app, the Nancy Karen app, and I didn't do it this year. And all of a sudden, we had all kinds of people. But I was in my garb, man, and I, scaring kids like I usually do and making them cry. And it was fantastic. We gave out lots of candy. I actually had some pictures taken with some trick-or-treaters, and it was fantastic. It was really great. If you guys want to see any of the videos, just go over to my Facebook page, Bruce McGee, or you can go to our group page. Let me bring up the group page here. Oh my gosh, I'm way behind times here. But you can go to our group page, and let me bring that up right now. That would be the Facebook.com/groups of the Weathered Soul podcast. And you can get there if you want to join that group. You just hit the join button and answer a couple questions. It'll ask me whether I want to let you in or not, but I let everybody in because we have a great time. We post all of our podcasts there. Sometimes I post opinions and commentary pieces and stuff like that. But I've really been spending a lot of time on the Nomad app. Another place you can get us is our YouTube page. Again, some of you out there are listening on YouTube. Go to WSLN, the Weathered Soul Liberty Network page on YouTube, and hit that subscribe button, hit that join, that like button, hit any button that you can. But dang it, get on there and listen to us every week, because we just love bringing you this podcast. And today we're just going to really start with kind of a local flavor of what's going on. We had an unfortunate incident happen, and I want to put a disclaimer out before I do this, because one of our former guests, Rebecca Armendreas, which is the city council,
and she's always welcome back too.
And she's always welcome back. But we did not reach out to her to get a comment from her on the incident that happened. But an unfortunate incident happened at her home in Gilroy this last weekend, where a party was happening, and unfortunately somebody got shot and died at the scene, and 2 or 3 others were injured, and 2 of them have life-threatening injuries. And you know what? I would just do a disservice to people that listen to this podcast on the local flavor, because we do have some local people that listen to this podcast, because for a while we were doing just local stuff. But it was just a really sad incident, and I'm just going to kind of go through it here with what happened. We had 1 dead and 3 injured in a shooting at the home of the city council member's home. 4 people were shot, 1 fatally at a shooting at a party in Gilroy council members Rebecca Armendreas' home on Saturday morning, according to police. The Gilroy officers responded to a 911 call reporting the shooting at the 400 block of where she lives. I'm not gonna dox her out. And when officers arrived, a large outdoor party was occurring at the residence. Investigating officers determined that the altercation had taken place, and at least 1 person fired a gun. And police said a total of 4 people were shot. I don't have to go too much into this more to put an explanation point on the tragedy that we had here. But a young man did lose his life, and it's unfortunate that those things happen. We do have, I don't want to bring gangs into this or anything like that, but when you have a party where you have 100, at least you have a large group of people, and you're in the house, you're in the backyard, you're out in the streets and stuff like that. And in Gilroy, we're kind of like a suburban place. We used to be a lot more rural than we are now. We're a little bit more urbanized, and there's a lot of people here now. But the unfortunate incident happened is that somebody came into the party and some kind of altercation happened, and a gun was drawn, and now a young man has passed away, has died, and 2 others are struggling for their lives. It's a tough situation, I have to sympathize with the people that lost their lives, because we just went through a terrible anniversary with my son, who just passed away. So I understand losing a loved one that has been so young. And the tragic thing is that a 19-year-old person was arrested in relation to the shooting at the city council member's home. So a 19-year-old guy. I won't say his name, but he was a resident of Gilroy, and he was in connection with the October 30th shooting incident at the home of council member Rebecca Armendez, which left one dead. The result of that, a couple days after he was arrested for that, they came out, and the DA just on, what was it? It was November 3rd, what was yesterday, is that the Santa Clara County prosecutor said November 3rd that they do not have enough evidence to file charges against the young man who was suspected. The Gilroy police arrested on October 30th in relation to the fatal shooting at the city councilman's home. We declined to file charges pending further investigation. I'm not going to go too much farther in this, but I want to make a comment about this. With the advent of what we've got going on with YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and all these other things, where you've seen constantly, day after day after day, where people, they post these incidents that happen all the time. And around here right now, everything is so tight-lipped. I mean, I've been searching to see if there's anything else that has come up online about this incident, and there hasn't been any. And it's a real unfortunate situation that has happened, and it's terrible. Do we think that this kid that is suspected of pulling the trigger, is he guilty? We don't know. I don't want a trial by social media. I never do like that. I do not like these social media trials where you're proven guilty before you even get to the courtroom. But obviously, people are being real tight-lipped about this stuff. But I think it's really weird that there's nothing has come out. And I know that Doug isn't on social media, but I want to get his idea on what he feels about the whole situation. What do you think, Doug?
Well, I sure as hell wouldn't get my news from social media, even if I was on social media, because we know what that's all about.
Yeah, we do.
Maybe we'll get into that later. Anyway, well, I mean, there has to be enough evidence, and it's not like this stuff hasn't happened before. It happened at Gilroy council person's home,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is tough because that's someone that's in the public, a public figure,
Right.
If it was just a regular citizen's home, it'd probably get the same kind of news coverage, except it wouldn't start with Gilroy city council person.
Right. Yeah.
You know what
exactly.
I mean?
Exactly.
There's really no difference just because she's a city council person. That's one thing that I can see right off the top. It was a shooting. It was a tragic shooting. And it goes to the state of society.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why was there a shooting? I mean, I used to go to Halloween parties. I used to go to Halloween parties that had hundreds of people at them in like a 10-acre field with a bonfire and a giant cauldron of venison stew burning, and people walking around in dazes and stuff. We used to, yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we used to do. And, everybody was allowed to own guns. Lots of people had guns, but, the only thing the guns were used was for making the venison stew, not on each other.
Yeah.
If you had a problem, you had a fight or whatever, you knocked each other's teeth out and you went to the hospital and got some stitches and it was over with.
Yeah.
Nobody needed a gun to prove their point.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
kind of remember. I kind of remember the days of dropping gloves and just going fist to cuff, right? And those days were over. I don't know.
I don't understand what's going on with this. Like it's really scary. I mean, why was there a kid there who thought he needed to use a gun? First of all, why was there a gun there?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right,
it's like
I totally understand.
Yeah.
I totally understand.
Where did this kid get his gun? Blah 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 blah. And it all comes down to the fact that it's like, I don't know. I guess like you said, I don't want to get into the gang thing or whatever, because we don't know any facts about anything. So it may not have been gang related. It might have been over a girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
It might have been over a car.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you scratched my car. You gonna show you, whatever. Or you're not invited to this party. Go away. Yeah, well then I'm going to ruin your party. I mean, who knows? Who knows what it was, right?
I hear you.
because there is no news yet.
Right, I hear you.
Right, like you said, there is no news yet.
Yeah. Yeah, there is no news yet, and we're patiently ready for some more news, because you know what, we really want to know what's going on here. I mean, I feel really bad for Rebecca, and like I said, I didn't reach out to her, so I didn't want to put out too much news out there, but I really wanted to talk about it because we do have a local following here, and it needs to be heard, and opinions need to be made, and we're not gonna point fingers at anybody. Like I said, I didn't name anybody other than the city council member. That doesn't need to be shared at this time. If you wanted to look it up, all you have to look up is Gilroy shooting Halloween, and you can find it on Google if you want to, and they'll point you to KTVU or the Gilroy Dispatch, whatever. But hey, the comment room is open. Adam, Councilman Kraft, William, how you guys doing? Thank you guys for commenting. I'm not sure if Doug can see the comment section, but everybody's more than welcome to comment and post comments on there. We'll try to answer any question you have during the show. And we just thank you for being here. And we're just having a great time. This is what we do every week. Me and Dougie just to get together and we banter. I mean, we probably talk a couple of times a week, but this is kind of like our Zoom call. And we kind of like to do this. Hey, there's Big Ass Garden right there. I love Big Ass Garden, man. I saw one. I got to tell you about this guy. When he says he's got a big ass garden, I mean, hey, he's got a big ass garden. Let me tell you. And he was teaching everybody on one of his videos. I think it was today or yesterday, on how to plant garlic. And boy, if there's anybody that knows how to plant garlic around here, it's guys from Gilroy. So, but hey, I want to thank him, Big Ass Garden, for being here, because he grows a big ass garden. I'm telling you right now. So welcome to the show. It's John. His name is John. He just came up and said his name is John. But anyway, this is our show. We do a local flair thing. We do a national league or national flair here. I got one more bit of information that probably, I don't know if anybody knows it or not, or if anybody cares, but our good catcher from the San Francisco Giants, Buster Posey, has just announced his retirement after 12 years of being with the Giants. 3 World Series rings that it took 162 games to get, not like the 60 that those pesky Dodgers got, last year. They got that half ring, and that's out to my buddy. That's out to my buddy Josh Forsythe. That's a dig at DJ Dougie's little buddy there. But yeah, we're gonna miss Buster Posey. He was a big part of the San Francisco Giants. I saw Buster Posey back when he was a San Jose Giant back in single A ball, and he was just a kid, didn't even have, scruff on his chin, and he was a great player. I've been watching him for more than 12 years, and we're just really going to miss him a lot.
He put his time in, he did his job for the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was a good player.
Absolutely.
He was always there. He did more. So if he wants to retire, I hope he retires comfortably.
Right. Adam says that Buster Posey was one of the best catchers of this generation. And you know what, Adam? Absolutely. My favorite player, Willie Mays, the best player that I've ever seen play the game. And I was a kid when Willie Mays was at his prime. I was probably 7, 8 years old when I got into baseball, and him and Reggie Jackson were like, my first heroes. And Willie Mays, I've met him face to face in spring training, and the guy's the nicest guy in the world and the greatest player to ever play the game. But we're gonna miss Buster Posey, and that's about all that we got for the local flair, unless Dougie has something that he wants to say local wise. And there's John. Barry Bonds was the greatest player in the modern era. Whatever. Barry Bonds.
All right.
Are you talking about Barry Bonds? I think he's a little bit partial there because Barry's spent some time in Pittsburgh, right? Is that right, John? Pittsburgh? I think that's what it is. You guys are still paying for Bobby Bonilla, is that right? Anyhow.
So listen, I got to see Willie Mays play too, but when he was a Met.
When he was a Met, that's right.
It was the last couple of 2-3 years in there in the early 70s.
Right.
Yeah. So we lived in Connecticut to go to see a ball game. We had relatives in Queens, so from their house we could walk to Shea Stadium. So we catch a game once in a while. And I can remember. I remember seeing Tom Seaver as a rookie, and
Oh my gosh.
Willie Mays as a geriatric.
I wish that I had all those baseball cards that I put into my spokes back when I was a kid. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you what, I'd be a rich man right now if I had all those baseball cards that I put in my spokes. But
Hey, listen,
anyway.
you want to talk about baseball cards? One of my crazy friends back in, it must have been 1987, invested like $5,000 in baseball cards, put them in a storage locker. Just
Never
bought
opened
cases
them
and cases and cases.
never opened them up.
Never opened them.
Yes,
He's
baby.
still
Those are the
sitting
ones.
on them. Still
And
sitting.
he's
on
still
them.
sitting on him. I bet
Yep.
he's sitting on a gold mine. I'll bet you he's sitting on a gold mine. John just let me know that the Mets are paying for Bobby Bonilla. Man, that guy did it smart, right? He played up with Bonds, for a couple of years, and then he opted out, and then he went off the face of the earth, and now they're paying millions of dollars for him a year, and he's been retired for years. This is the greatest play of all time, to tell you the truth. I'm telling you what, it was great, man. But yeah, thanks for that little tidbit of information, John. I love you, dude. Me and John are gonna be doing the In the Pit of My Stomach podcast next Thursday night. So you guys want to be sticking around, and me and my buddy John will be on there. We'll be talking about health and wellness and stuff like that. But hey, we're gonna go on to the show because the name of the show is that the Exodus, the Purge, and the cancel culture. And what's been going on lately, and me and Doug, we like to push each other around and push each other's buttons, but really talk about things that are happening in the culture right now. And we actually had we went out to dinner this weekend, and we were talking about actually the Exodus, because the big thing that people are talking about right now with pandemic, with the vaccine mandates, with all kinds of different things that are going on, high taxes, and government oppression, and the climate of just really humanity of people that are around. It's really starting to make people move to different spots. And I listen to lots of podcasts and I read lots of information on this, and there's all kinds of different reasons for people wanting to get away. And there's been
people are moving in both directions.
Yeah.
A lot of city people are moving out of the cities, and that's happening everywhere.
Right.
That's happening everywhere. Like I told you in a few years ago in one of our podcasts, I said how the housing property value in Connecticut had plummeted because GE moved out because the governor didn't give them a tax break. So the company moved to Massachusetts and took 40,000 people with them. All those houses were on the market, right? Then the pandemic hit, and all those houses got sold to people moving out of New York that wanted to be in the country where they had, a few acres around them. Right. And now that property value had gone right back up. So, but at the same time, there's still a housing shortage in the city. So even though thousands of people have left New York City in every direction, well, except out into the water, but
hey, they're gonna be homesteading the water.
At least 270.
They're homesteading the water now, man.
Yeah, they split up, but New York City didn't empty out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
and it never will, because there's always going to be somebody there that's going to snap up the property. It doesn't matter. I mean, somebody's going to have the money to do it. But a lot of the consensus is going on in the Liberty area where I hang out at, and some of the tribes that I listen to, is that a lot of people are expatriating, and they're going down to Mexico, they're going down to Ecuador, they're going down to Costa Rica, different places like that, because not only, I think number one, it's cheap down there. Number one, you can live a lot on a small amount of money, but then there's also the government is less obtrusive in their lives. Got
and they're less obtrusive. They're less obtrusive in the gang's lives too. That come and murder
there's always a trade. There is always a trade-off for what you've got.
Hey, no, seriously though, if you want to. Seriously, I have some coworkers. It seems like a lot of the people that I work with come from Michoacan. All right, even people that are third, fourth generation American, their families come from there. I guess it's a big state. I don't know. It's kind of I've looked at it. So anyway, one of my coworkers is his family is building a house down there, and it's nice. I mean, it's forested. It's overlooking a lake.
Mhm.
The house is being built out of, concrete block. So it's a good solid house. And I
Yeah.
keep telling him, I said, listen, man, you and me, let's go to Mexico.
Hey, got a podcast buddy of mine who lives down in just outside of Mexico City right now, and he's loving it. But he says, "Hey, it's really, I mean, as far as the climate of people and COVID is concerned, he sees more people with masks and stuff hanging out down there than he did up here. But he says that the climate is way different because the government is not actually kind of." He still has to wear a mask here or there and stuff like that, but he says it's not as intrusive and they're not doing mandates and stuff like that. So a lot of people are getting out, a lot of reasons because of the vaccination and stuff, but there's other reasons too. There are other reasons like just the plain fact of some people are just being really bad to people right now, and that would make you move. And then the oppressive taxes that are happening. I mean, there's some people here in California, I mean, that some, they say that we pay the sunshine tax because that's we have it, the weather here is beautiful. I mean, come on, if you're going to pay for it, you're going to pay for it. But I mean, there are certain reasons why that people move from one place to the other. But under the situation that we have now, and I mean, you can go research and listen to other podcasts and stuff like that. But there is just a place where right now is it's kind of hard to get away from all the lunacy. And it really doesn't matter where you go anymore. I mean, we talked this weekend, Doug, about, going back east. You talked about Connecticut. I talked about New Hampshire and things like that. Even though you were convincing me that I love New Hampshire and that it's beautiful up there and stuff like that. I mean, still, how long would it be before, California, kind of melds into New Hampshire and stuff like that. I mean, the policies and stuff. And I think we all have to take into consideration. Yeah, I know you say no, but
Sorry.
I know you say no, but the fact of the matter is that, things change all the time. I mean, a lot of people are saying, oh, we're going to move to Texas. We're going to move to Florida. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but, hey, I can say all you want to say about Governor DeSantis and how he says that he's not letting anybody get vaccine mandates, but at the same time he's touting digital IDs out there in Florida. And once you have a digital ID, how much longer it is before they track other things other than just your driving.
Well,
so,
what
I mean,
other problem with that too is. He says you can't tell me what to do with my body, but he's telling women what they can do with their bodies.
Well,
it's really
it's a big
problem I have. Yeah, it's a big problem I have. It's like either shut up or put up, one or the other, but don't do both because
yeah,
it makes you
well,
look like a
what?
pussy.
I'm going to say one thing about that is that back in I think was it 63, 64 when they voted this in. There wasn't a woman on the Supreme Court when Roe versus Wade was handed down. It was almost unanimous vote. I think it was 6-2 or 6-3 or something like that, where the men sided for abortion rights. And I have my opinions about it, and that's another show for another day. And I'm not going to get into that, but that's one of the things I at least wanted to say about it. Whether or not a state wants to do what they want to do with their laws should be. I'm all about a 10th Amendment type situation, and I think that's the way it should be. But another thing that's happening along with the exodus is that we're starting to get a purge of people, and I don't know if it's. I want your opinion on it, because I think the purge is happening because we've been divided so much, and as much as I hate to say that it's been the fault of media, especially social media. I think social media has a huge part to do with it. I think that also the news media has another huge part into it. And we also talked about this on our way home today, with our local news. Why would our local news be talking about something that happens in Podunk, Wisconsin, that really has nothing as far as a local flair or national flair to it, that would set off something. And they purposely do this. They purposely bait people into an emotional response. And when that emotional response happens, then I start talking to Dougie. Dougie gets mad at me because he says I'm wrong. And I said, well, that's okay if you're wrong. But what happens is that we start getting these animosities, we start getting these arguments, we start going down these rabbit holes, and it's getting dangerous. I mean, this is what happens. I mean, this is a perfect example of why things are just being so divided. Doug, what do you got to say on that?
Well, you know how I feel about media and social media and people themselves. It's one thing. It's like I was saying before when we were talking, news, social media, whatever it is, doesn't matter what brand you put it under. It's all about money. It's all about marketing. It's all about selling, advertising space. Okay, even like public radio, like PBS, NPR, all that stuff, they still have to sell time. They need money. They need money to operate, right? And how many times do I hear them, give some scathing report about, the FB, up in Menlo Park, and at the end of the news segment, they have to say, and by the way, FB is a contributor to NPR. It's like even though they just ripped them a new asshole.
Well, I get exactly what you're saying, but I'm going to pull up some ridiculous stuff because I scan.
But the thing is too, I mean, I've seen a lot of talk about, the algorithms and so forth that Facebook and social, Twitter and so forth use to actually generate your leads, right?
Yeah.
What you're going to see.
Yeah.
Okay. And it is all programmed to make you click the mouse. It's
absolutely.
No matter what. It's like candy to a baby. It's programming you to click that mouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
dopamine.
Just don't click.
Dopamine.
Just don't
dopamine
click. Don't press the button. Don't see a new screen. Just read it and say, that's fucked up. Don't comment on it. Who the hell cares what you have to say? Honestly. Does anybody care what I have to say?
I don't want to say, Dougie. Get off my lawn. But hey, one of the things that I did learn, and John had to pull me off of the ceiling one day because I was just going off on Facebook and what I was seeing. And he just went like, he said, Bruce, he says, you really design what you see on Facebook. And you really do.
Yes,
because one of the things that used to infuriate me to no end, is that when people would just blindly post these memes that are coming out on whether it be Occupy Democrats or TPUSA or any kind of political site that would curtail the facts in just a way that would piss off the other side. And I used to hate that. And what I'd do is I'd go and I'd admonish my friends for posting that. And I'd say, you know what, you're wrong about that. You're blah, blah. I'm never convincing anybody of anything. But one of the best
you just
things
lost a lot of friends. That's all.
Yeah, I lost a lot of friends. That's for sure. I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of listeners. I probably could sell a lot more Plexus if I didn't do that. But one of the things that I did do, and John had to pull me off of the ceiling one day on this, and he says, look, Bruce, he says, you design what you see on there. And what I've done lately is I blocked a couple of people because they're just so damn obnoxious that I just can't handle them anymore. So I just, if I don't see them, I won't react. But when people post the Occupy Democrats, TPUSA, things that are just really slanted towards wanting to just divide, I will just go up there and I'll click now. So I block any content that has to do with this. And voila, you have your own custom algorithm. Actually, you're actually creating an algorithm for yourself. And now I'm doing puppies and food. So I mean When I go to my website, I see puppies and food and plexus and all this other stuff, and I get to do the same thing. But I purposely have done that also because I have been weaning myself more off of the Facebook and the Twitters, and I'm probably fool around more on Twitter. If you want to get the real spicy Bruce, you go to Twitter.
It's the same thing too. I'm always on the internet looking for information, equipment, or whatever about my industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go to my Yahoo Mail and see an ad for my company on the sidebar. It's like, because I just Googled, solar something, right? And then I go to my email, boom, there's like my company, like, yeah, why don't you buy solar from Doug? Now it's like, I just, it freaks me out because it's like, why do they keep sending me my own ad? You know what I mean?
I've never seen that because I don't have my own ads yet, so up there, so they won't.
Well, it's not my, the company.
I understand.
You know what I
mean. What you're saying.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. But hey, if you guys really want to find out where I'm at, go to www.nomadnetwork.app. Sign up 7YPN4C, and go there and sign up for the app. The app. It's a new networking site. It's not. I find myself wanting to say social media site, but it's not a social media site. It is a networking site for people that want to do business with other people, people that want to hang around with artists, podcasters, illustrators, musicians, you name it. We probably have it there. And it's a great place for motivation. It's a great place for people that just want to get positive results from things that they're doing. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about starting a business, if you have a business and you just want to get around people that are making money or trying to make money and learning new skill sets and stuff like that, this is the place to be. www.nomadnetwork.app. And right now, like I said at the start of the show, I'm in a contest. And I want to win some of this stuff. But I really need people that really want to be there. So, if you're watching this show and you're getting a lot of out of this show, share the show with somebody and, subscribe to the network. And,
Bruce, also remind everybody they can go into the archives and they can see the show that we did a few weeks ago, where we actually had, a guest on, and we talked about the Nomad Network and a lot of other things. But it's a very interesting idea, and you'll see that if you do go back into the archives and watch the show, one of the last things I said was, I'm the resident skeptic. I'm the one that's supposed to find something wrong here, and I can't. So it must be okay. But seriously, it's not. Yeah. It's not like a private Amazon where you're going to be selling stuff or anything like that. It's just where you communicate with like-minded people, get ideas, get suggestions, get information. That's it. There's no pressure. There's no sales. There's no.
I'm telling you. Yeah. I go there, and in the morning I get refreshed. I get filled up. I try to fill people up by giving them positive energy. I post my morning drive there. Rob Lindemann always is posting other people's podcasts and stuff like that. So if you want to get promoted and stuff like that, just go there and you can get promoted. We're not looking for anybody that wants to actually solicit their stuff. This is for people who want to increase their business by networking with people. And if you wanted to solicit your stuff, well, then you can go off on your private own chat room that we have there. I mean, you can message people and things like that, connect with them, and they have to approve you to connect. And then if they're interested, by all means, you can do business. But what I'm saying is that we share our ideas, we share our expertise, we share our motivation, we share our wins, we share our losses. I mean, it's really, really a good, solid network. And right now you can get there, www.nomadnetwork.app /sign up/7YPNC4. Go there. I'm going to leave that up for the rest of the show, and we're just going to keep getting on with the show. But the next thing that I want to talk about is just the state of the great experiment that we've been living under for the last 250 years, 275 years that we've been doing this. And I'm not going to say, because me and Dougie have had this conversation before about socialism and about this and about that. And I get a lot of banter when I was on the social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, where people would argue with me about, well, you know what, you take your social security, or you're going to get your social security, and you keep banging your fist on the desk saying that you want your social security and this and that. And what I have to say is that to them is that, I wasn't alive in 1945, 46, 47 when they implemented this stuff. I was born into this system. And most people,
thank God you were.
Yeah. Well, maybe
thank God
I was.
Otherwise, in your special situation, things could have been a lot worse for you and your family.
Maybe or maybe not. Maybe or maybe not.
Right.
Maybe or maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. Do you know if it would be or not? I mean, I don't know.
I do know.
I have no idea.
I do know.
What? How do you know? Just so enlighten me, because this is one of the points in the show
because
where we're going to enlighten each other.
One of those gentlemen I was speaking about before from Michoacan,
okay,
has a Down syndrome son, and he said that if his son was in Mexico, he would have been dead by the time he was 4.
Okay.
Period.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's why he lives here, and that's why he doesn't want to go back to Mexico.
Okay, well, I'm not going to say that this isn't like the greatest country that's ever been. I mean,
no, it's not. It might be one of the shittiest, but if you're a society needs to take care of its citizens. That's part of the deal. It's been that way ever since the first tribe
started. Needs to take care of its citizens. You pointed on that. So are we talking about society? Are we talking about community? Or are we talking about government?
That's all the same.
No, it's not the same. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No. It's not the same.
Government is part of your society, and it is your community.
It's not my
get those stupid thoughts out of your head, man. Where do you make that disconnect? Where do you make the disconnect?
Because
is that like you're evil because you're a parent?
No, I'm just saying.
Yes, you are. You put rules down on your kid.
Because what?
No.
I'm sorry. What?
You put rules down on your kids when they were growing up, didn't you? You didn't just let them run.
Yeah, I'm very communist in my house. I'm a communist in my house. I am a communist in my house.
No, you're a parent.
No,
there has to be an order. There has to be an order. The reason why we have a government is so that there's not chaos. Okay.
Everybody knows that. Everybody knows, and you know that I'm a monarchist. That we have to have some sort of government. I'm not for the person that says that we should have no government.
How would you like to have to pay a toll every 400 feet on 101 to get to work because you're going through a different farm each time?
That's a straw man argument, man. That's
not a straw man argument. That's the truth, because that's the way it used to be. That's the way it used to be. The road runs through your property. You put up a toll. It's my property. Remember?
You remind me of Blazing Saddles when they put up the 10-cent freaking.
Where do you think that comes from? The guys who wrote Blazing Saddles, Mel Brooks, he actually knows a little bit about Hitler. I mean, about history.
Hitler
and Hitler too, because he plays him a lot. Yeah, he plays him a lot because he can get away with it.
But no, because anyway, I just want to say. Go ahead.
No, I'm serious. Okay, like I told you, where I grew up, all right, where Connecticut was it had a constitution. It was a colony. It was like its own country. Okay, all the colonies were their own separate individual entities before we formed a single government for everyone.
Right.
So state to state, you had different laws and stuff. But all right, the thing is before there was a centralized government, if you wanted to go from here to Morgan Hill in your wagon or on your horse, you'd have to go through people's property to get there. Private property.
Yep.
They could say, no, guess what, Bruce? You don't get to go to see your mother today. Don't go to my property. I'll shoot you. Yeah. Or they could say, yeah, you go see your mom today, but I need $10.
Yeah. Okay.
Just like that. That's why we have a government. Okay.
a government to do eminent domain on your land, to be able to throw a road down on your land. Is that right? Is that what the?
Because
Is
it's
that what
not
we're talking
your
about?
land in the big first place. Who gave it to you? Who gave it to you? Where did you
Huh?
get it from? Where did you get it from? Did it fall out your ass?
Are you? I don't know. Are you going to start? Are you going to start handing me about the indigenous people now, or what?
Yeah, well, we can get into that too.
Is that what
But
we're going to do? The indigenous people?
if they had a more
Are we going to talk about before when people's wealth was measured by who you conquered instead of how you made it? I mean,
well,
that's the way it was before.
that's the way it was.
Before
that's why we need to
court,
have a strong government.
yeah. Well,
Otherwise, somebody come do that to your shit right now.
They
Just
do it
like
now,
what happens
but
in
they do
just
it
like what
now.
happens in
They
Mexico.
do it now,
The
but
gang
they
comes
just do
in
it
and
by
goes,
the
"Hey,
FBI. They just do it by the FBI, or they do
the
it by the
gang comes in and
IRS.
says, "Hey, I like your house, man. Thanks." And you're
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
well, "What do you do? Who do you
And that's the
call?
way.
The government? There is no
And that's
government."
exactly the way that used to be. It used to be
Yeah,
that way, where
that's right. And
wealth and power,
if it was still like that, trust me, brother, you probably
wealth
wouldn't
and
be
power
here.
was determined about how big your army was,
Yeah,
and who you could push around. That's how
that's
it
right.
used to be.
That's
So
right.
does government play a role? Does government play a role? Let's talk about monarchy. Let's talk about a king.
There you go. There you go. You
Let's
can
talk
have a
about a king.
monarchy that
Yeah.
controls you, tells you what to
Yeah.
do, takes everything you own, owns everything you own. Okay, right?
Gives
Or
you a
you
little
can have
stipend.
or you can have a government that you elect and you tell what to do. Your choice. Which is
Excuse
better?
me for laughing. Excuse me for laughing.
Well,
But
I understand why. I
what color is
understand
the
why you
sky?
laugh, because you can't do
No,
the
no.
math.
Open up your blinds there, because I want to see what color the sky is over there on your backyard. Because because I don't see that happening.
Well, it's because you're a baby. You like to complain a lot. Yeah, I'm getting cheers from the background.
I know who the background is. But the whole thing is that, there is no doubt that that things are kind of going awry. And it's just not in this country. It's going on all over the world, and probably less in some places than it is in others. And I have to be the first to admit that, us Americans, we're spoiled. I mean, we really are. I mean, when it comes down to it, we've had our way for a long time, and something like this comes along where we voted for the lesser of two evils for how many centuries now? I mean, I don't know when we started voting for the lesser of two evils, but it's been quite a while in my lifetime that we have been doing
I
it.
think we spend most of our time voting for the moster of evils.
The moster of evils.
Yeah, it seems that's what we do, because we're all dumb shits. I mean, Americans don't know enough to know what's good for them.
I mean, exactly. I mean, the big celebration a couple of days ago is that a Republican finally won in Virginia, and I sit back and kind of laugh at that and going like, yeah, here comes the new boss. Dun, dun, dun. Same as the old boss. Really. I mean,
you didn't hear that they stole it? Republicans stole the election.
That can't be.
Oh, it's voter fraud everywhere. Virginia was full of voter fraud.
That was proven not to be true back just the last election, that they said,
no.
There's no way an election can't be bought and it can't be stolen.
Absolutely.
The Democrats already said that when Biden won.
But not the Republicans, and they're the ones that won, so it must be true. They just proved their point.
The best thing the Republicans can do right now in Virginia right now is to turn around and say, we want a complete audit of the whole election. But they're never going to do it. They're never going to do it. It's never going to happen. Because if they had such a bitch about the outcomes of elections, they would go like, hey, let's recount. I mean, I won, right? So let's recount the votes and find out. But it's not into the best interest of anybody, and it's definitely not to the best interests of us, because I don't think that they ever do the best interest for us. I think, and that's why I say that government is in our community and government is in our society. Our society, I have more confidence in our community than I do in our government. I have more confidence in you, Dougie, that you will help me out before any government agency
Well, you
would
see,
help me out.
that's why back in the day, our founding fathers had it so that only, educated, property owning adult males voted, because they only wanted smart people voting. They didn't want idiots. They didn't want hysterical people. They didn't want morons. They didn't want emotional people, right?
And
They didn't want religious fanatics. They didn't
right.
want whatever.
Only landowners. Only
Well,
landowners.
only educated people who would be able to make a good choice for what's good for them.
Yeah, well, that
Right?
leaves us out.
And it worked for a
We'd be
while.
screwed.
It worked for a while, and then of course wars and shit came, and they had to make exceptions to this and exceptions to that, and it just started rolling. Really.
What's going to bring us back, Dougie? What are you looking at in the next year or two? What are you looking at? Do you think there's any fixing this? Do you think that there's any, to me, and I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to shill again for the Nomad Network.
I think if people could man up enough to say, I'm not going to listen to the hysterical horse shit on the boob tube or the social media crap. I'm not going to get baited by some jackass from, whatever, Rhode Island posting something on my page, a political comment that's going to trigger me to call him an idiot. No. And then what about him? And what about him? And what about him? And what about that? And what about this? And what about them? And what about those? For 4 days.
And then you're
get
on a
nowhere
hole.
except pissed off.
Yeah, except pissed off. Yeah, exactly.
What good does it do?
Yeah,
the best thing to do would be just to ignore all the shit and get on with your lives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but how many?
We lived through Watergate. We lived through Watergate.
How many people have that filter? How many people have that filter?
One person telling us about it.
Yeah.
Right? Walter Cronkite. Okay. And tonight, and that was it. That was it. If you had anything else to say, you wrote a letter to the newspaper.
and then you watched All in the Family.
Yeah. And life was just fine. Okay.
But we have more than 3 channels now. Now we have 250 channels plus. Yeah. And all the other channels involved as far as special channels and all this stuff. And there's just so much information out there. It's crazy.
That's another thing too. There was a time where a broadcast media, a newspaper or a television or a radio station, was liable for propagating false news. Like they could get fined for propagating false news. Like they had to have sources. They had to have, you couldn't just say, well, I heard some guy say that this guy was seen with a 14-year-old on a boat in Hawaii 27 years ago. That wouldn't get on the news. It wouldn't even make it.
Yep.
And social media, it's like, shiny dick. I saw a shiny dick.
It's all about the clicks, man. It's all about the clicks now. Right. It's all about the clicks. Clickbait.
So if society wants to save itself, it has to find a way to grow out of that phase.
I'll tell you what.
That really, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I got off of Facebook, because it was like I got on Facebook, I connected with all my old friends, everybody I knew from childhood through high school, even college, and then realized that there's like 160 people acting like we're still in high school. Fuck you all.
And that's why they have the Nomad Network, because I'm going to shill again for the Nomad Network. www.nomadnetwork.app/sign up/7YPNC4, because I'm in a contest and I want real people to come over and join the network and check it out, because it's one of the best places I've ever been, man. It's taken me off of Facebook. It's taken me and cooled me down. And it takes a lot to cool me down. Believe me, Doug knows, because when we get together, it takes a lot to cool me down. Maybe a couple of drinks or so. But
you just tell them a joke, man. Just tell them a joke. Any old stale joke.
But hey, you know what? It's getting to that time. And like I said, I've got a special birthday present and birthday surprise for Rianne. And happy birthday, Rianne. At the end of the audio podcast for Anchor.fm, I got a special song for you that I'm going to play for you. So if you want to go back later on tomorrow when I do the podcast, your dad can put it on and he can zip all the way to the front, and then you can hear the song for yourself. But hey, go to Anchor.fm /The Weather Soul Podcast. Come back here every other Thursday night on YouTube or on Facebook. You can get us there, and or right now, because you're seeing us either on Facebook or you're seeing us on YouTube. Click that subscribe button, hit that share button, share this with a friend, because somebody needs to hear what me and Dougie are saying. Because Dougie right there, he is the best co-host in all of podcasting, because this is the best podcast you've never heard of. Dougie, say goodnight, Dougie.
Good night, Dougie. Thanks for
we
joining
love
us.
you guys. Thanks for being here on the Weathered Soul podcast, and we will see you in a couple of weeks, man.